Well, welcome back to the Clown Show. I'm about to show you a crazy tactic that I found and frankly I'm very proud of. If you're new here, I'm 700 ELO. If you're not new here, yes, I'm back from Vegas. Yes, I had a good time. Yes, I lost a lot of money. Please send help. Today we have a special 3 games planned, and as usual, each game increases in skill as it progresses. So make sure you stick around for game 3. Without further ado, let's begin. So game 1, I'm not gonna hold you too long from the juicy game 3, so I'll run through this game pretty quickly, and probably game 2 also pretty quickly. We play Karo Khan, he brings the knight down, and we decide to push here. I don't know if this is the right move, but he throws a knight right off the bat. we have to bring the queen up pretty early, which I don't like, but I mean we get a free knight for it. Not to worry for him though, because we very quickly throw the knight right back. Out of all this, in hindsight, should have taken here and forked these two. Don't know what I'm doing, but you know, we throw the knight back. We have to make it fair, I guess is what you could say. He blocks the check with a pawn. We go ahead and take another free pawn. He castles, and then we bring our bishop out just to immediately attack his knight. He checks, thinking that it's a fork, but there's a bishop, not even sniper, a bishop infantryman 3 tiles away. I don't know how he doesn't see it if this ain't a low elo. I don't know what it is, but he gives me another free knight, so I love it. He brings the rook over to attack my queen. I take the free pawn, and I think he's getting jealous from all these free pawns I'm taking, and decides to just take this free pawn down here. We go ahead and decide to fork now, I guess, which... with this sort of combination, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. He doesn't utilize the combination. We castle. He doesn't utilize the combination. He offers a trade of queens because obviously this rook is watching the queen. But what he forgot about is this hanging bishop that we find. He takes this pawn here, and I have no idea what he was thinking. During the game, I have no idea. In hindsight, and I really only know this because I saw the eval bar shoot to mate in 1, but if you notice this piece coordination here, I think he wants me to, well, even then I could escape. Regardless, in the game, I'm looking up field. Look at where my queen is. It's looking right at this rook. If I could get this king to move, I can steal the rook. So the idea is to throw the bishop, take a pawn, so we do get a pawn, throw the bishop, he takes with king, which is what happens, and then we get a free rook, which works perfectly. Now he takes my rook, I take back, and everything, you know, it all worked out. I think in all things considered, we won a pawn, or at least we traded even. However, again, right here, this is mate in 1. He does not see it, thankfully. He takes knight, we take back with rook, and we take his rook back. Then he takes with queen, we move the king out the way. He takes a free pawn. We come down here to take this free pawn, but he defends it. He defends it with the queen. And I'm a little bit concerned now about this discovered check. Not that he could really do anything with it, but I'm afraid I'll forget about it and somehow my pieces will be in a compromising spot and it'll mess me up in the long run. I just don't want to mess with it. So I just go ahead and block the potential for that to happen. He drops a pawn down, and now I go up, and now he can't move this pawn. He could move this pawn, I suppose. Basically, I'm attacking this pawn. This is my main focus. He can't move it, and I can take it because the king isn't here. But he brings the king over to defend it. We use the bishop to now go ahead and check the king. And now we move the queen here because right here is threatening mate. And he sees it. Wait for this. He sees this, and his response is to go here, and he doesn't know that I could just go all the way up to the corner and still mate him. That's game 1, let's go. Game 2 begins, and we have a pretty good tactic in this game, actually. So it starts with a weird Karo Khan, though. He plays advanced variation, and I always go for here, and then you take back the pawn that he took. But you have to be careful and get your bishop out first, or otherwise it gets trapped back there. I don't know the exact move order, but we get bishop out first, and then he brings his bishop out and immediately challenges, which I'm not used to. I don't know if that's the actual line you're supposed to play or not, but we do a very questionable move and bring the knight here to defend against if he wants to take the bishop, and he does. And now we have the knight in the center, so it worked out. Then he brings his knight down. We go ahead and push the advance. He takes, and then we push, and then we take back the bishop. So it did work out in the end, but I don't know if moving the knight there long term is good if he just keeps the tension between the 2 bishops. He goes ahead and brings the queen down, and I'm assuming he's gonna take with knight here, and we can't take back because of the pin. I think that's his idea, but we just castle to, you know, alleviate that pressure. He pushes down his pawn. We move the knight here to eventually maybe be able to check and see, depending on where the king moves to, if we could take this potentially. I'm not sure, but he drops the pawn. Now the queen can no longer defend. It blocks the defender of the knight. So we just simply decide to move back. He moves his rook out to, I guess, to centralize it, maybe to back up this pawn, and we find this spot, which is threatening to fork. Curious to see what he's going to do about this. Actually, we don't have to, the curiosity doesn't have to last very long because he moves right here. And now is where the genius tactics begin. I bet you can't see it. We move the queen up to, what is this, C7. Why do we do this? Can you see it now? Maybe I'm not as genius as I think, but I'm looking pretty deep. This is level 1000 depth here. Here's the idea. This is why I moved the queen right here. Because we still commit the knight to the square, sacrificing it. Essentially, either he doesn't take it with the king, the only thing can take it. If we sacrifice it, or excuse me, if he doesn't take it, then we just take the rook. Perfectly happy with that, and the knight's still alive. If he does take it, then we can move the bishop here, discovered check, take the rook. I mean, I gotta say that's a pretty good, for tactical stuff, I'm pretty impressed with myself to even think about this kind of stuff. He moves the knight here, and now I'm a little bit worried because now he's covering this square. Honestly, I think he moved it back to cover this pawn here. Because I don't think he sees that whole plan I had, and I think he's trying to defend this from the queen, this pawn in the center. But he's also defending this, and I at first get scared, but then I'm like, well, once this discovered check happens, even if the bishop's up here, he can't even take that because he has to deal with the check. So none of this matters. We can still initiate the plan. And so we do. We go here. He takes. Take, blocks, take the rook. Worked perfectly. Now, I hate to spoil the surprise here, but I'm going to be honest, the game doesn't necessarily end the way I want it to. We just go ahead and push a pawn, put pressure on the knight. In this position, it is a little bit weird. Do you take or do you take knight? I end up taking here because I think if I take knight and he takes here with check, then we move with this queen protecting this pawn. It seems like it just corrupts the whole king side. So I just decide to get rid of this pawn, and if he wants to hippity hoppity, well, he can't even move the knight out the way, actually, I guess in hindsight, so that made that decision a little bit easier. The knight's still stuck. So he brings the queen down to go ahead and fork these two pieces, which I don't care if he takes, because we take knight, he takes bishop, then we take another pawn for free with check, opening up to a check there too. So we go ahead and take, he takes, we take with check, and he takes a pawn back. So we basically, we want a pawn down here and a piece, and he won a piece, so we're fine. We move the rook over to attack the open knight just chilling in the middle. He blocks it with the queen, or defends it with the queen. We check, the king moves. We check, the king moves. And now, I know this check's here, I recognize it, but I don't like how all my pieces are bundled down at the bottom. I just want to go ahead and develop this knight out here just to spread out, to start expanding, you know, my terror. He comes down here, perfect time for the check, and he abandons. We've made it to the beloved game 3. Get ready to see some magic happen. We're playing white. We go ahead and move the king's pawn. He matches, and then he does this weird opening. Like a lot of openings, never seen it before, but he's bringing out the queen very early, which means he's probably a good player. I'm just gonna do what I'm trying to do and put 2 pawns in the center and continue playing the way I've learned how to play. He takes, and we take back with knight. We're perfectly happy with this. He forks these two. We take with the bishop. He brings the bishop out to attack the knight. We defend the knight. I actually really like this position, as jumbled and messed up as it looks. It's a lot of pieces in the center all defending each other. He drops a knight to attack the bishop, and in hindsight, I probably could have gone here. If takes, we take, and then we can attack the queen and threaten to fork here, but we don't do that. We want to keep the bishop alive, and we just decide to back it up. He brings another knight out. Both of them in the center, very peculiar. He's playing very strangely, which is scary for me, especially when he's bringing the queen out early. Like I said, usually indicating a good player. Not always, though. Not always. We go ahead and castle, and he continues attacking the bishop with his knight. I again back it up. I want to keep the bishop alive. He castles. We push a pawn. We're afraid of this bishop coming down and causing mayhem with the queen, because the queen kind of needs to be here. I mean, I guess we could move it up, but the queen has to be here to be able to deal with this whole exchange here with his, you know, with his pieces. We would run out of a defender, and I also just don't like the bishop being down here. Plus, an added benefit, little escape square for the king for future self. He brings down a knight to attack. Again, this is the same attack. He has too many attackers. We need to add a defender. We only have 2 defenders. He has 3 attackers. We go ahead and defend. He attacks still. Still decides to attack, which I guess now he's realizing, oh wait, takes, and then we take, and you lost. He moves down the bishop, and we develop the knight here, which I, in hindsight, probably wish I would have gone here, because then if he takes, we could take and make a better pawn structure, I think. I don't know why I decided to develop the knight here, but we do. He takes, we take back. It's perfectly fine. we still have complete central control, and matter of fact, he decides to retreat the queen. We push a pawn up, and he retreats the knight. I guess his whole opening he didn't like. Turns out, guy doesn't like it and wants to just bring everything back. We bring out the rook for, you know, I guess, central control. He brings out a random pawn. The only thing I could think of is to maybe bring this out, and maybe he wants to redirect the knight here, and that's why he brought it back to put pressure on. But even then, you know, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not sure why he pushed that pawn down. But we bring out the bishop to immediately attack the queen. He blocks with his pawn. We bring back the bishop. He brings up his knight. Now from this position is where things get tactical. There's a free pawn on this board. Can you find it? Actually, matter of fact, this ain't Blue's Clues. I'll just tell you. This is what the tactic is. We go here and can take this free pawn. Only thing that can take this pawn back, or to take this rook after taking the pawn, is this queen. And you know what happens if the queen goes here? We push pawn up, discovered attack, take the queen with a pawn. That's the idea. Again, I'm getting really happy with all this vision I'm seeing. Like, to even spot this, I don't know, it doesn't take, you know, an absolute genius, but I just feel like I'm getting better coordinating pieces with, like, with discovered attacks and skewers and all those sort of ticky-tacky bullshit stuff that I used to get absolutely railed by. I'm now doing the railing. I'm enacting my revenge. I'm getting better at the game, I think. I tell myself that. But we do initiate the plan. We bring the rook up, take the free pawn, and he unfortunately sees it. That's the nature of this kind of stuff. When I sacrifice like a bishop or something else, then the people don't really, it doesn't raise a red flag. When you throw a rook up right beside the queen, he's gonna look through every possibility and be like, what is this guy up to? You know, it just looks really sus. So it doesn't surprise me that he sees it. It's just a little disappointing because I wish I could have saw it play out, but you know, it's fine. He's a good player. He sees the tactic. So we decide to just go ahead and double up the rooks. One, because I feel like this is just coming anyways, and he's just gonna be able to attack that rook. And two, we don't want to have to deal with, I mean, this rook was undefended if we didn't push the pawn up. So I just want to have the defender in place. And it works out perfectly because he ends up moving the king, so the discovered attack is no longer there, and we needed the rook defended. Here's where we're going to get a lot of controversy from. I'm going to hear people saying this is hope chess. I'm telling you right now, I'm reading this man's soul, okay? I'm reading his soul. I know absolutely no low elo player in this position is going to take with queen. And what I mean is I'm going to sacrifice this bishop. I'm going to sacrifice the bishop. And nobody is going to take with queen here. I promise you. No low elo player is going to take with queen. Let me amend that. Amend that statement. No low elo player is going to take with queen here. They're either going to take with pawn, and if they do, we sacrifice the bishop. He takes with pawn. If they do that, we go up here with the queen. What's he gonna do about it? If he by the way, we're threatening mate in one. If he drops the rook to block, we just take. Same result. Drops the queen, we just take. Or we just take. Same result. He's cooked. I don't know how he's gonna defend that. Alternatively, if we take and he takes with rook, we bring the queen here. Threatening mate in one, soft pinning the queen-ish, also threatening the knight. I'm telling you, there's absolutely zero chance he takes with queen. We're big brain. We're big brain. Don't call it hope chess. I'm telling you, I know these things. I know these things. I've been in low elo long enough. Months at this point. I know how they think. They're never taking with queen here. I promise you that. So we sacrifice. And what's he do? He takes with the rook. What did I tell you? He's gonna take with either pawn or rook, and he takes with the motherfucking rook. What did I tell you? And now we bring the queen out, initiate the plan. You think, no way is he gonna throw this mate in one? No, this is the coordination that was in game one, if you recall, that the opponent had against me. A queen from really far away and a rook on a second rank. And guess what? We actually are able to execute it on it. We do this thing, and he doesn't even see it. Like I predicted, he's never gonna see this shit. And he brings the queen down here, and we checkmate him.